Hello, my name is JT Patten. Am I free to go here? Or am I being uh, formally charged? Oh, geez. Wow, this is going out to the author community or writing community and readership. So I don't know. Man, this is going to get away with. There's an individual. There's a couple individuals that don't necessarily write their own stuff. And then we're happy to talk about how they wrote it and what they did as far as their writing process and ran that pretty heavily. Yeah, I'd love to knock them square in the chops. And there's a few of you out there. You know who you are, and I do too. Um, yeah, a little controversial. But I think probably the biggest editing note that I had was for my main character, Drake Wolf, and how when I initially created him, I wanted him to be biracial. And the editor and another kind of individual of influence said, absolutely not, because it wasn't going to work for the demographic of my readership. So there's that. And hopefully, if this ever makes it to the big screen, I'll have my say. So when I started off writing, I did a lot of it after work in the evenings while I was traveling. And so I usually did it with dinner and after a couple drinks. And I think that there were times when I might have had more than one or two or three or four drinks. And so the next morning or the next night when I was reading it, I was like, did I copy and paste this from some information that I was going to use as research, or did I really write this? And so there's some good stuff in there, but I must have hit like a good Hops Zen moment at the time. Hmm. I think I started referring to myself as an author when I'd had the first couple books published, and I think that when it came up in some conversations on airplanes and things like that, and I wanted to sell more books, I would start with I was an author, so that they would think that I was making more money than I actually would, and then I can either hand them a book or something like that as a gift, even though it may have been one of like 100 books that I couldn't really even give away. So, yeah, I mean, if I had my first choice, it would definitely be with Stephen King. But I know that that's not going to happen. So the only one that's really realistic is my one of my go-to bros, Josh Hood. Josh and I have actually put a couple things together in the past and try to work on collaborating. A problem is he and I are both too outspoken. So he writes something, and I'm like, well, that sucks. But what would be really cool is if we did this. And he's like, well, yeah, well, that sucks. But if it was really cool is if we did this. So we really never got anywhere, but we had a really cool shoot 'em up espionage, taking from a little bit of his gunplay and a little bit of my background in the intelligence space. So who knows, it may come back out. I know right now it's on Google Docs, and every now and then we take a hit at it. Yeah, absolutely. So for a time, some of my readers know that I took a break and was writing a horror suspense. It involved some aspects of the Holocaust, and when I looked at some of the corporations that were involved with supporting either some of the deadly materials, Monsanto, Bayer, and some of those companies evolved out of it, and I thought that was really interesting. So I wove that into the story that I'm working on, kind of on the side, Whispers of the Stranger, where some of these things will come to light, which are, I think, pretty interesting and quite harrowing. I think I would pick Hood just because Josh Hood still has probably some capabilities and he's got the gallows humor. Um, I'd also go with a good friend of mine, General David Grange. He's definitely got the skills, but he's getting a little bit older now. And he told me years ago that he really kind of wants to go out with a bang. So I feel like if it got really heated, he would wanted to sacrifice himself. So that would be all right for us. And Mark Greeny and Josh get along pretty well together also. And I know that Mark's got some of the medical training, and I can't think of a couple of my other buddies that still have that. So I'd go with those three. So Mark Greeny, Josh Hood, and the old Delta legend, Dave Grange. Yeah, absolutely. So when I was in high school, the first couple of years, I was 6'1". I had silver glasses. I had braces to match. I just looked like kind of a wire toothbrush, and I took my share of hits. Two guys in particular that I absolutely hated from high school, I combined into one character, and I went pretty medieval on those guys. So it was fun. I'd like to meet up with them again now these days after I've you know, learned a couple things. Today's world, it's kind of nuts. I think what I don't understand is why we've got such polarizing left and polarizing right. And I know that there's a lot of people in the middle that are probably a lot more collaborative. And so I just don't know where those people are. Where are you guys? I'd like to hear from you.